Hello class and welcome to Mr. Cheney's Social Circle tutorial. And we'll be playing through these set of chords where we'll have B minor 7 to A major 7, and we'll do that 3 times in a row. On the 4th time we'll go from B minor 7 to C sharp minor 7. All diatonic here in our A major key. So for example, here's how they would go with kind of your classic jazz comping rhythm, I would say, or at least a bastardized version. And so So my first notes, I'm gonna go on the 7th fret, that B, and I'm gonna go to that octave up A, which is my minor 7 right there, my 7 flat, right? That's kind of the first part. You can see the tabs here. And then we'll have the major 7, on that chord, on that A, we'll hit from the 1 to the 7. So that bass line's kind of start off going. You know, that's that bass line that really is only in the intro. It appears later. If we want to do that with the band, you can choose to keep that part in. You don't have to. Once again, this is a jazz fusion song, so you can kind of take the motifs and organize them how you want. But there's one other part to the bass line. Quick update on the bass line, guys. That C sharp note that's added every other time, really, it's just going to be at the end of 8 bars when we do hit that C sharp chord. And on that C sharp, same as the chord here, right? That note that's in the A on that bass line, and that's where that main motif's going to kick off. So you'll hear you hear that C sharp, and that's when we go into the da da. And let's listen to a little bit of that part, and then we'll break down that main motif that starts really. What you need to know is before we really kick into the main riff, that those first 3 notes, which is all, it's a B minor arpeggio. You know, we're going B, we're going F sharp, we're going D. So we got 1 5 3, 1 5 3, 1 5 3, da 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 da. Right, and that little section is really like the signature in this motif. It's actually kicking off, as you can see in the tab, I've notated, it's its own bar because it's starting at the end of the last bar. That C sharp chord, that's the end of our chord progression. We're still on that when those first 3 notes kick in, okay? And so we go from the end of that progression, this is kicking it off, as we get into the first bar, that B minor 7, and that's where we're gonna go. So that's where we kick off. 7 9 7, and then before to that A major chord, we're doing another one, right? So that is going to go at the beginning, or I guess at the end of every bar. So we're like, and so you'll do that 3 times. As we get into that final section, I guess it'd be like what would be maybe considered the 7th and 8th bar. Here's that final section. This is where we change it up a little bit, okay? And this time, it's actually going to kind of sound like. So that's that kind of run, as you can see here indicated on the tab. And if you listen, that's where the vocal does change a little bit. So if we want to do this with the vocal, it would be like, look how the time speed race when you are up in space. Look how the time speed race when you are up in space. Look how the time speed race when you are up in space. Until my time's replaced, some things will never change. All right, and so you kind of get it. I might do as I break down each section. So we just had Motif 1. That is the main, I guess, lyrical part. But Motif 2 is kind of like almost a reverse of that. I'm gonna play a little from the B major scale even here. And although we're playing over a B minor and A major chord. So it's kind of cool. What makes the song unique, maybe kind of what gives a little bit of that jazz feel. Here we go. Part 2, kind of reflecting the rhythm of part 1. We'll have a little 3-note thing that comes in before the start. It's always going to be the end of the last bar. It feels like the beginning, but it's really at the end of the last bar, kicking off bar 1 of the motif. And so we'll be, as you can see, same rhythm. So we have the 3 that goes before the, look how the time's erased. So right, look how the time's erased. We can still sing over it just like we were, harmonize, maybe even with the last notes. When you are up in space, look how the time's erased. When you are up in space, look how the time erased. When you are up in space. And then we have the final bit that's a little different. We go back to the, until our minds erase, some things will never change. And that would be, I guess, the second half of part 2. So once again, we do that 3 times, and on the 4th time, until our minds erase, some things will never change. And then playing back into that a little bit. All right, now let's look at the next part. You don't even have to have much of that, just a slide into 7, landing on that D, which is part of our B minor chord. It's actually the flat 3rd of that, so that's what makes it minor, is that D note. So we're going to be doing that over that B minor chord, right? And we're going. All right, and then so with the staccato part of our main motif, that we'll call that part 3, part 4 is basically going to take it from this A major scale position, and we're going to take that back to like our pentatonic position, that classic F sharp major or F sharp minor, A major pentatonic scale, right? In this part, it's going to be very similar rhythm to the last, just different notes here, but still on that G string, right? And we go. And then we'll do that 3 times to end this whole motif. We're gonna do a descending run of that A pentatonic scale. We're gonna start on that F sharp minor on the E string at the bottom. And we're back into the chords, baby. And really, you can have your band playing these chords even over those motifs, right? Obviously, there's many other parts and licks we haven't gone over, and we can work those out. But I'm just showing you the basics here, so your band can play Social Circle, a great jazz fusion song. One point in the middle where we have a walking bass line. As you can see, that walking bass line here. And so with the walking bass line, we're going between these chords and we are just like hitting the chromatic notes as we change between. So on the B minor, we've always had the rhythm of 1, 2, that halftime rhythm for the song. So instead of that second note, that backbeat, instead of hitting the chord, that's where I hit that chromatic line, as you can see. So I'm gonna go from like 7 to 6 on the bass, right? You can do it really cool on guitar too. Right? And then as I go to the A major, my first note is going to be the root. On the backbeat, I'm hitting one note flat, and that's that walking bass line. So and the same with the C sharp. Now, if you really want to expand on that idea, you can take that concept. You just hit the note, backbeat, go flat. Starting on think of where's the 7th of each note. Okay, I have my 7, I go flat, 7 go flat. What's the 7 of A? Oh, well, I can just go from, so I could be, kind of like that. Now let's go back to, what's our C sharp 7? That's going to be B, right? So, not so different from the beginning. If you do that, cook it with grease. Walking bass line ends, we go into a classic jazz chord turnaround where we're going to go from the 1, the major 1, to the minor 6, to the minor 2, to the dominant 5. Also, just saying, A major 7, F sharp minor 7, E minor 7, E dominant, or E7, and then right, so all of that. So you might hear it on the recording, something similar to the walking bass line going. All right, kudos.